I've read in some article that you did some work for NASA. What's all that about?
Yeah, it was really interesting. This is when I was working in Washington, D.C., and I had interface and connection with a variety of government agencies. I had some friends who happened to work at NASA, and at this point in time, they were kind of, interestingly enough, as an organization, reconceptualizing how, as an agency, they could best meet the needs of the American public. All right. So they created what they call a chief education officer within the organization. And that person's job was to help everyone, every American citizen, understand what NASA was all about, aeronautics and space. Because the greatest understanding the public has, generally speaking, the larger amount of support that you have, and the easier it is for you to get the job done that you have to do, both in terms of interaction with the public, and this is important, and increasingly in order to get funding for your work as well. All right, so there was a real practical side to it as well. So the chief education officer decided that what she would do would be to construct a national education advisory committee. She would pick, I think there were about 20 or so people from universities around the country in different fields, not just in areas that were technical fields, but in the humanities, okay, in the health professions, okay, because the potential that exists in terms of aeronautics and particularly space travel is extraordinarily wide, again, when you talk about the conceptual dimensions. So she put together this really impressive blue ribbon committee of people. And to my surprise, quite honestly, then came to me, I was working again at the American Council on Education at that time, asked me if I would chair the council, the Education Advisory Council for NASA. And I said, I don't think I'm really qualified to do that.
That's the first sign that you're good for it and qualified for it.
That's pretty much what she said to me. She came back to me with that exactly. And I said, well, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I convened this very august body of academicians from around the country and say, well, what do you do? And, what kind of work are you involved in? And I said, look, let's kind of be a little less formal than this, okay? Let's kind of talk about what the possibilities are in terms of how we can help the organization.
Just be human, right?
Exactly. So one of the things that came out of this was there's a tremendous database now that's available to every teacher in the U.S. online, and has been for a number of years, about the significance of aeronautics and space travel that they can bring into their classrooms. All right. And so what you're doing now, literally, is you're preparing the next generation to understand the significance of not only what space travel is all about, but what the agency's role is in supporting that mission. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of the impact that educational organizations, in conjunction with other partners, can have in helping the entire population understand how we move forward. So I'll tell you the one thing that didn't work for me, and I still think it's a great idea, okay? So what does every kid want to do, as they're kind of growing up and beginning to understand about, what the world is about? They want to fly, okay? Either airplanes, space travel, whatever. And I'm saying, let's even take it a little bit further than that. Let's figure out how we're going to get kids and their parents from the very first minute that they're alive understand how important NASA is. So I said, this is what I want to do. I want us to go to a company that makes beanies, little caps for babies. You've been to a nursery in a hospital, and they have these little caps on, to keep the baby chilled. And I said, I want those caps in pink and blue, and I want to have a NASA emblem on every cap. So as soon as a baby is born, they're a future astronaut. And they said, well, how much would that cost? I said, well, look, I'm an idea person. I don't have to come up with a number.
I'm sure NASA's budget could cover it.
That's exactly what they said. They said, that's a great idea. That is not in our budget. We're not going to do it. But what I was trying to get them to understand, I know that they understood the significance of what I was suggesting is, which is that if you have something that is useful and beneficial to the society at large, then the best thing you can do is communicate that message out as far as you can and down as far as you can. because the more support you generate for your mission, as NASA likes to say, the more likely you are to have people who stand up for you and make the case for you when you have either a financial issue or just an information issue that you need for people to understand how you're going about your business and how it ultimately might impact their lives.
I know Neil deGrasse Tyson does the same thing. Like he tries to inspire people, young people to, and he always reminds us that when there was in the Cold War, people had an incentive to actually aspire to reaching the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays, we have to rely on people like Bezos and Musk to take us there. But hopefully the government, all of the world's governments will chip in to that dream of flying into space.
And since we're on that specific topic, again, what I think is the example there is how the support of the mission has shifted from national organizations, in this case NASA, to individual entrepreneurs, okay? I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I know what it does show, again, is that there are now people who are doing things in ways that make themselves quite well off from a financial standpoint, but they're also contributing to, again, what the general dream of the larger society is, okay? So those kind of opportunities are going to come up in a variety of fields down the road. And that's why it's so important for me, for our students and for all students, not just to look at what is, but to think about what